This was an interesting clip that I saw that was posted online from TikTok regarding the overcharging of him and the statement that they're trying to make. Now, you are of the mind that the reason why they're going to overcharge, and they have overcharged on Mangione, is because obviously they want to send a message. They want to send a message, but on the other hand, they also want to make sure that they're able to convict him of something. Because
well, first of all, prosecutors generally will overcharge. You're talking about state court. They will overcharge. They will throw so much shit against the wall and just see what sticks. That's just how they work. And, with him, it was definitely an intention of creating a very chilling effect. I mean, the terrorism charge is absurd. Everyone knows it's absurd. I don't see how that, again, but I don't see how they're going to get 12 people to convict him of anything, quite honestly.
Well, the more that they go down this road, they may actually be overstepping in a way that the case could potentially get thrown out, because that's the thing. When you're desperate to try to put somebody away, and
pigs get fat.
Yeah. All right. So here is the clip.
We're doing a deep dive of the Luigi complaints, and I came across something that makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever, and I need to get your guys' input on it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there are 11 counts in the indictment. The first 3 are murder charges, and then the rest of them are firearms, and then like 1 for a fake ID, right? Okay. And it doesn't make sense because all of the firearm charges require that he possess the firearms in the state of New York, but they're basing it on the firearms that he possessed once he was in Pennsylvania. Okay, tracks. No, it doesn't. Because we know that after the incident, he went into Central Park with a backpack, which ostensibly had all of the stuff from the crime in it, like these pew-pews that they're charging him with, right? And then we see him coming out of Central Park without a backpack because he ditched all the stuff. So unless they have footage of him going back into Central Park later to retrieve the backpack with said stuff in it, the stuff that he had on him in Pennsylvania necessarily cannot be the same stuff that he possessed when he was in New York to commit the crime. Right? So then all of those charges fucking fall out because they can't prove possession in New York. And it also validates everything everyone's been saying about Luigi being a decoy and not the guy who actually did the thing in New York. Because again, how could he have the stuff in Pennsylvania if he ditched it in Central Park in New York? Like they literally cannot be the same guy.
Okay, well, here's the thing. This is where her argument falls short. Well, okay. I will agree with her, and I've said this before, huge chain of custody problems. I mean, that's essentially what she's talking about, is how is that the same backpack? How did he have that on him? But I would suggest that obviously there was a firearm, and it wasn't found in the backpack with the Monopoly money. However, the possession of the firearm charge when he was caught in Pennsylvania just seems silly. Like that, I don't even understand. But her sort of reasoning doesn't make sense either because, and I hate to be the person to say this to her, there could be 2 backpacks. There could be a backpack under a backpack. There could have been a backpack in a backpack. That backpack that he had in Pennsylvania could have had the backpack that he left in Central Park in it. I'm just saying, like, her reasoning is not very sound, but there are chain of custody problems.
Well, I think that she's right in the sense that this is definitely an overreach circumstance.
Oh, for sure.
No question. However, she is going down the conspiratorial rabbit hole that Luigi wasn't acting alone, that he at least had one accomplice.
No, she's going down the rabbit hole that he's not even the same guy.
Well, can you create enough reasonable doubt to suggest that it wasn't him? Because what hard evidence?
You can, but you don't need to. But her method of doing it won't hold up. I've already poured right through it. Her problem is that she's presuming that what he dropped in Central Park was all he had on him. And that makes no sense because obviously he did have a weapon, except for she's saying it was somebody else, except for the weapon that was found is the same weapon. Because they're not going to have their ballistics wrong. They have a chain of custody problem, absolutely. But the backpack in Central Park with the Monopoly money, that is just a distraction. And I thought it was clever. But for her to make that, because he left his backpack there and there was no gun in it, then clearly he didn't have a gun. That's just silly.
Yeah. No, look, we'll finish it out.
Or at the very least, they're the same guy, but he wanted to get caught, and the stuff he had on him that day was not the stuff he had on the day of the crime. So if that's what they're basing most of their case off of, it's garbage. Because when the government stacks hella charges, most of which are low-key irrelevant, it means they can't prove the big crime, so they're trying to get you on a bunch of other little stuff so they can add it up to a big prison sentence and scare you into playing down so they don't have to prove their case on the charge that they don't have, that they know that they don't have the evidence to charge you on. I haven't gotten to the federal complaint yet, but I'm reading the New York State complaint and I'm like, this is garbage.
Yeah. I mean, that part's true. I mean, they're going to throw everything against him that they can. And in most cases, when they do that, they'll end up forcing the person to take a deal. But that's not going to happen here. There's no way. Not with that defense attorney and this public support. There's no friggin' way he's taking a deal.
Well, as Chris Garrett points out, his biggest problem was using the same false ID that he used at the hostel, which is probably true.
You know, identity isn't going to be the issue here. That's what I'm saying. Like, her reasoning about this is silly.
Well, as our resident attorney, Tia Martin, says, let Luigi's lawyer do the lawyering. And
well, yeah.
Apparently she's really good at it too.
Well, that's why I know that they're not going to take a deal. You don't bring in a lawyer like that to take a deal. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not trying to lawyer for him. I'm just saying, I don't know who this chick is, the sort of like, you know, Monday morning attorney. I don't know. But yeah. Who is this? Why are we watching her? Who is this?
So the name of her TikTok is What the Ish. That's
okay. Well, she doesn't know what the ish she's talking about in terms of this.
Fair enough. I guess we don't have to listen anymore.
No, but we do. I mean, look, she's right about overcharging, and she's right that there's a chain of custody problem, and she's right about a possession of firearms charge when he was caught in Pennsylvania under New York law. Like, that doesn't make sense either. You would have to have it on you at the time. Like, yeah. I mean, so there's definitely some points there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely going to be, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs that will go into this case, assuming that it gets started anytime soon. I mean, who knows how many delays there's going to be, if there's going to be any continuances. And, you know, we all know that when it comes to the Southern District of New York, these things can.
I'm concerned for his safety and well-being.
I would be too.
But as I've said before, and yeah, Josie's got her name there. It's Karen Friedman Agnifilo. And yeah, and if this by any chance gets to her, please call me. I'll help you. I'll do anything I can for jury consulting.
Are you sure that it's that way, Josie? Or if it's not Karen Ginafilo Friedman? Because I think she's Italian.
You think she has them inverted?
I think she's Italian and she married Jewish. I think that's
whichever.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Well, she's a pizza bagel either way. So there you go.
She's a pizza bagel. All right, but point being, you don't have a lawyer like that if you're not planning on having like a really good showing. And I think their biggest issue is jury selection. I do not see how they're going to be able to have an unbiased jury. I don't see that. It's
a big club and you ain't in it.
Hey, I did criminal defense and I have a full appreciation for it. I think it's incredibly important. And why am I worried about Luigi's safety? I'm worried about his well, on the one hand, I think as far as like other inmates and stuff like that are just people that are there, I think that he's probably protected and that he's probably like royalty. Like, I think he's definitely high in the pecking order.
I definitely agree.
However, a lot of those people can be bought and paid to do things to Luigi. And the problem with this case is not only just jury nullification, but let's say hypothetically they're able to find a jury. Okay. I don't know who that is. Oh, so
Cosimini.
So they're able to do that. This going to trial, this being in trial in court every day is not something that the powers that be want. This is not going to go well. The people that the health insurance executives, the big pharma people, honestly, the entire oligarchy, they do not want this laundry aired in a court. They just don't. It's a bad look. He's basically Robin Hood, and it's gonna and with a good lawyer. So my concern for his safety is that the people with a lot of money and power don't want this to see the inside of a courtroom. And because of that, I have concerns for his safety. That's why.
I definitely agree with that.
And I don't want him to get Epsteined. But the one thing he does have going in his favor as compared to someone like an Epstein is Epstein would be the bottom of the pecking order barrel in a prison situation if he were with other people. Whereas Luigi Mangione, for the most part, will probably be like a legend there.
Yeah, if Luigi, I don't know where he's being housed right now. I don't think he's at Rikers, but if he, let's just say for the sake of argument that you were wondering what could ultimately happen to him and why it would be a dangerous situation for him.
I know what could happen to him.
Yeah, so what you have to understand is that if he gets boxed into a prison like Rikers, you could easily convince, potentially, I mean, it's not a guarantee, but you could easily convince a person doing a 30-year stretch to take him out, and in the process, will make your charge go away.
There's a lot of variables, but nobody at Rikers is doing that long of time because Rikers doesn't have any, but well, in theory, it's not supposed to have anybody in there that's past a year.
All right, so if he got stuck up in Sing Sing, it's sort of a similar situation. That's my point.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there are a lot. First of all, I always say this, nobody is untouchable. And the people that have a lot to lose from this going to trial don't like that. That's what concerns me for his safety now. And however, I do believe that this is something that if I'm thinking about that his lawyer has thought about. So hopefully there have been certain precautions and things taken. But yeah, that jury selection will be like the coolest thing. I would love to just see it.